Geek Army, get hyped. Fire. Because we are covering Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Fire-Raga. Maybe even Flare. Could it be Meteor? Massive blue sword thing. I don't think that's a traditional spell. But seriously, this is Kiernan, geekswithgames.com. I am in the beta, and I have pre-ordered the game. This incredible cinema is kind of hidden in the intro, actually. It sort of takes a cut of this awesome cinema when you first create a character, but this cinema is better. And it actually has a lot of clues for what's going on with the gameplay. And some Japanese music. You can see some of the jobs and classes hidden here or there. And I think it's supposed to kind of segue away from the original Final Fantasy XIV. Ooh, Magitech armor. Final Fantasy VI throwback. And lead into the whole Realm Reborn idea. Trying to take this storyline and relaunch it. This is pretty BA fighting, and I think he's probably using some moves from the game too. I think a few of the characters do that. Some of the spells and things. But the basic idea is actually like kind of Final Fantasy XII-ish. There's this big marauding empire taking over the continents, and now you get to Eorza, I think it's pronounced, which is the continent that all the gameplay currently takes place on. And the empire got up to that continent's front door and then just kind of mysteriously stopped for some reason. And just at the start of the game, they are beginning aggression again. And here we have Best Guess Cid of Final Fantasy XIV. And here comes Super Blue Space Sword. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of a let's play, but not really a traditional one, because MMOs have a lot of grinding, and this MMO in particular has a lot of fetch quests at the beginning. I mean, I think I got to like level 4 before I thought anything, and that's just not really fun to watch. So I'm going to try and do more cuts and edits than you might normally see in a let's play, just to kind of keep showing interesting stuff that's fun to watch. New content, new areas, new enemies, new spells that I get. I'm playing a caster type character from the get-go. Just try and make it fun. This little group in the cinema I think is supposed to be a typical party. I see the definite black mage, and then maybe a paladin, and a couple other characters. And that's Bahamut. Raining down fire and fear on everybody. I feel like he's been more of a bad guy than not for a lot of the series, but that's neither here nor there. I will be posting some beta impressions shortly, just kind of show some of the systems and how that stuff works, and just an overview of the game. And then when I post the Let's Play videos, that way you'll just have a better grasp of all the little things, and I won't have to be explaining it as I go. And it'll also be sort of a beta overview and preview, pros and cons of the game, that kind of thing. But for now, let's just get hyped. Look at this awesome old elf man doing his thing against Bahamut. That could be you someday at level, whatever the level cap is in this game. So, a little bit of background for me. From a Final Fantasy perspective, I have played the entire series since Final Fantasy VI, which was 3 on the Super Nintendo, except the offshoot sequels like Final Fantasy X-2 and the 2 13 sequels. I don't even know if Lightning Returns is out. But anyway, I haven't really played the older ones before 6. I've never been that interested in going backwards. Just not really my thing. I've also played some of the various offshoots. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my all-time favorite games. The Tactics series in general on the Advance and the DS and stuff are awesome. Dissidia on the PSP, also one of my favorite games. They're getting warped out. It's Star Trek interference. So I do have quite a bit of Final Fantasy experience under my belt. As far as MMOs go, I have played a lot of MMOs as well, but I never really play them like elite style where I'm level capped doing all the raiding and highest level PvP and all that stuff. That's just never been my thing. I always kind of lose interest and want to move on to the next new game. But I have played a lot of them. I mean, just recently I played Star Wars The Old Republic, I played Guild Wars 2, Secret World, Terra. So I have a lot of experience with just the basic systems. I'm not going to be like just crazy noob mode running around. But I'm also not necessarily super advanced. I'm not going to be comparing it to high-level gameplay of any of the other ones or anything. I'm just going to kind of take it for what it is. Part of why I'm doing some of the editing is that I will be confused at certain points. The map system's a little strange to me. You know, I've got to learn the cities and things like that. And just the whole system that they've used is a little bit archaic compared to a lot of modern MMOs. A little bit higher learning curve. Even signing up for the beta was kind of nuts and confusing. I don't know if anybody played Metal Gear Solid 4 Online, but I remember when I first got that game for the PS3, I had to download like a second client and sign up for this weird, crazy, archaic Konami ID and stuff instead of just using my PSN ID. It was weird, and signing up for this game is kind of giving me some throwbacks to that. But on the plus side, it's only $30 since they failed so miserably with the original launch. So, as you can see, this is where it kind of ties into that original launch storyline, I think. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I mean, you can see it all, so guess for yourself. Not actually totally sure of the story implications yet. Some of the vibe I've gotten from the game has been that the story isn't all that epic, but I'm also not very far, so it feels like you're playing. I mean, it really does feel like a good mix between Final Fantasy and an MMO, but it feels like most of everything that I've done so far has been equivalent to Final Fantasy side quests. It doesn't feel super epic yet, but it's a beta, and I'm not too far in, so we'll give it time. And I hope you guys come along with me on that ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for this series. And you can see how much they're emphasizing the Realm Reborn. Alright, peace out, Geek Army.
Clues. I'm gonna lick my pencil tip. I always see them do that. I don't understand. It's a pencil.